Borelli. I'm with the Chicago Tribune. I'm a features writer. I write a lot of random stuff, I suppose. One of those random things recently was Jules. I don't know how many of you guys read that Q&A. Okay, I'll probably repeat a little bit of it, but not too much. Give you some of the greatest hits and maybe move on to other things as well. So one thing I did ask in an interview with you, Jules, and it's kind of awkward name, so one of the things I did ask in an interview with you was, where do you get the majority of your royalty checks from? Because you do so many random things.
First of all, I have to explain a few things here. One, I'm sitting so low that I feel that I'm 4 years old again. So, anybody got a cushion or anything to prop me up so that I can see you as well as you see me?
This man a phone book.
Sure. Wait. Thank you. Now the other thing, which is can't be solved, is that I'm deaf. So
this will go well.
So look at me. Be very funny with the state. I could hardly even see the state.
Yeah, you're echoing.
There were no acoustics in here at all. So it's, as a matter of fact, you all can go.
Can you guys hear us? It's pretty low. Oh, okay. It sounds weird up here. So I started by asking where you get the majority of royalty checks. Let's answer that and move from there. Where do you get the majority of your royalty checks from?
I'm 83 years old. What royalty checks? It's actually, the Phantom Toll Booth was 50 years old this year. It's we put out a new edition, and including a wonderful annotated edition. Which is a bigger book than the drawings are even better than they do in the original. And it's amazing how well that's selling, and I'll be getting probably some generous royalty checks, thank God, for that, because I have announced here we are. Not so much. This is the book I'm collecting. This is published by the University of Chicago Press. It's a paperback edition of my memoir, which came out about a year and a half ago. And it only took 5 years to write. It took 4 years to write and 1 year to rewrite it. And I still get royalty checks for Mark Field, which is my best-selling children's book. Oddly enough, I get royalty checks, maybe $100 a year for the street play from Freddie Popeye.
Is that more than the movie made, actually?
Not a penny for Garland. So I'm still working, which is a blessing, because I can have participants from the TV over there.
This is kind of a follow-up question. What do you put on your W-2 form?
What's that?
What do you put on your W-2 form? Are you a cartoonist or you're an artist?
I'm not. I am whatever I am doing that moment. I'm a cartoonist when I'm cartooning, and I haven't. Essentially, I stopped what everybody thinks of as a kind of life of cartoon in 2000, I think year 2000. And I've done a few of them, a couple for the New York Times and a couple of things for Obama, but not much. And essentially, that's something I gave up. I mean, or gave me up, whatever it is. But I continue to illustrate in children's books. I have a daughter named Kate Feiffer who does wonderful pictures. And when she comes up with an idea that I think I can do, I did it about a year ago. I did a new book which is out now, came out in April, called No Go Sleep, about a baby who won't go to sleep, and parents trying to get it to go to sleep. And I had a wonderful time learning how to illustrate. But each of these books, and each of the things I take on now, as opposed to the cartoon which I did for public movies, is a new learning experience because I've never done anything like it. So it's kind of really for me because I'm reliving a childhood experience which is learning stuff anew over and over and over again, but without the childhood fear of failure because that's all I've ever done, and I'm now making failure as a given, and you just get over it, you get beyond it. So I mean, I've just began illustrations for a noir graphic novel that I'm working on. I'm wrote and now I'm illustrating in a style of drawing, a realistic style, going back to my mentors, Bill Eisner and Milton Victorian Pirates.
Tell the name of the graphic novel.
Now I'm doing it. So it's all new to me and all very exciting. So
Well, tell them the name of your graphic novel.
It's called, and this relates to things I've dealt with in the past. It's called Kill My Mother.
I love that.
But if it weren't for my dear mother, I would have had very little subject matter otherwise. So I have to keep killing her over and over again. As you would say, so long as you're happy.
You were telling me when we talked that you, one of the ways that you learned to get at the noir style, like some of the film noir style, was, well, it was really interesting. You explain to me how you learned how to draw in film noir style.
Well, when I first fell in love with comics, and I was born in 1949, and the adventure strip began taking on whole new forms. The adventure comic strip with realistic drawing. It came to the fore in about 1934 and 35 with Flash Gordon by Alex Raymond, and which was very illustrative. And basically it was the inspiration behind Star Wars. I mean, I don't think we would have been Star Wars without Flash Gordon shooting. And the best of them all by a man named Milton Friedman called Terry the Pirates. And these strips, and then it was Tarzan, and there were some other people that Prince Magic, realistically drawn strips were what first enchanted me with the floor, and what I most wanted to do in the floor, and what I practiced throughout my early childhood and later on, copying these guys. Because one of the things about, one of the screwy things, but necessary things about learning anything, is that the more you imitate as a kid, the more you think you be a real artist. The more you look like yourself, the less confidence you have in yourself as a real artist. So the more you can look like somebody else, and the less you can be yourself, that's when you're legitimate. And that's how you think about it over there. But I found, when I came to the teenage years, I started doing samples to take around to houses, to college houses. I hope to hire me in some capacity. At the work I did, the samples I did were lousy. That I could not really work in the form that I wanted close to. That was a brush stroke. That has to be fluid and slick, which was beyond. There was a style of realistic drawing that I could draw the human body, but I couldn't do what has the comic book realism at all. And over again I would try, and over again I would do these samples, and over again it was just pathetic. And in addition, I couldn't draw backgrounds, and comics are full of backgrounds, and I couldn't draw street scenes. And I didn't know what a car looked like, and I didn't know what an airplane looked like. And if I had a car in front of me and tried to draw it, it looked like I didn't have a car in front of me at all. I was just, so I switched to doing humorous stuff because that can look wrong on purpose. And I gave up any idea of being a realistic cartoonist. Now, for some dummies, I found as I entered my clothing that style I could never draw in. At 80 plus, I can now draw it, or my own version of it. And I've learned how to do it with a certain kind of panache and enjoyment and originality, and I'm having a ball. And as far as backgrounds go, which I've always hated doing, those of you familiar with five descriptions was in the newspapers. No, I never did backgrounds because I didn't know what anything looked like. I knew what people looked like, and I would draw anybody in any clothes. But I didn't know anyhow what the blind eye could put in inanimate objects. So and I need all sorts of inanimate objects because this is a noir thriller in the tradition of Hammett and Chandler, Dashiell Hammett and Moon Chandler, who I adore. And I read everything they ever wrote, and in addition to lots of other people like Agatha Christie. And I saw all those movies in the 40s and 30s with Walton Scott, Double Indemnity and Little Years, and I loved the way they looked, and I wanted to replicate that look. And God bless Turner Classic Movies, so that book is available to me 24 hours a day. I just record these movies as they go. I stop them off. I push the pause button when there's a 1930s car I want. I get my pad and I keep drawing that car until I get it right. And then there's Claire Trevor or Ginger Rogers is wearing a specific hairdo, and I push the pause button and I work on that hairdo and I work on that dress. So my research library is Turner Classics, and it's been, kind of fun because the movies I would be watching anyway, I watch piecemeal again, and I feel that we're a team, that I'm not doing this alone, that I'm part of an assembly line process that's turning out this graphic novel, that me as the captain and Turner Classic Movies as my backup. So I'm having a ball.
When you first started,